Hello, I'm Katie Wilson and you're watching Context. On Saturday, Turkey turned on a supply of natural gas from Azerbaijan to Syria, with annual deliveries expected to reach up to 2 billion cubic metres. Syria's authorities, who toppled Bashar al-Assad in December, is seeking to rebuild the country where infrastructure was ravaged by civil war and power cuts can last for more than 20 hours a day. Damascus has said the gas would be used to generate electricity, whilst Turkish Energy Minister Alparslan Bayraktar said the initiative would help normalise Syria. The gas will help activate a power plant with a capacity of around 1,200 megawatts, meeting the electricity needs of approximately 5 million households. A joint statement issued by Azerbaijan, Qatar, Syria and Turkey underlined the importance of this milestone not only for the restoration of Syria, but for deepening relations between the four countries. In the statement, the countries once again confirmed their commitment to strengthening peace, stability and prosperity in the region. Joining me now to discuss this milestone and what it means for the region is Sheraz Mahmood, research scholar at the Western Caspian University in Baku, and Onur Erim, president of Dragoman Strategies. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Now, Onur, I would like to start with you. Why have these four countries chosen to come together for this initiative?
I think these are the most risk-taking and the most front countries in the region that is trying to do whatever they can for stability, for economic prosperity, because I think these are the premier four countries in the region that believe, and they actually not just believe, but they also put, so to speak, put their money where their mouths are. That they believe that this is an initiative where without stability in the region as a whole, without prosperity in the region as a whole, no one country can really achieve true stability, true security, and true economic prosperity. So these guys, all these four countries are looking at the broad picture rather than just their own, own advantages or their own way of earning money or keeping their own countries safe. They're looking at the broader picture.
Sheraz, let me bring you in. What, in your view, is the significance of this project?
Okay, so this is thank you very much for inviting me first. This is a very major development as you know, the new government of Syria has kicked in. Syria's government is looking to gain some external support and to be recognized by the major players in the region, that is like US and European Union and all that. And obviously it wants to get its own international confidence, A. B is that, Turkey is playing a very important part as supplying the gas to Syria with the help of Azerbaijan, obviously. And Azerbaijan being the key provider of the gas security or the energy security in the region, with the help of Turkey, it brings in a very significant a milestone for all the countries in the region, for all the countries who are the players in the whole system. Qatar is helping the whole project, and the thing is that restoring energy and infrastructure is actually a very critical step for Syria after the civil war of 2000 and 2010s, and it has been it has never been a major producer of gas or any kind of energy, but it was having its own resources for its own domestic consumption. But right now, the infrastructure of Syria has been demolished like 50 or 60%. It does not have that infrastructure to rely on. So the only thing is that to import the energy, and that is the gas. And because of the gas, they would produce the electricity. Right now, As far as I know, only 5 or 6 hours of the electricity is available for Syrian people and all around the other regions of Syria. This kind of a gas, provision by Azerbaijan through Turkey would double the period, would make it to the 10 hours or something. So, and it would go on. Syria is actually targeting for 14 to 15 hours of electricity. So without an electricity, nothing can happen. No production, no systems can work, no domestic things can work. The household cannot work. There's no industry which can work. So this is very important, and this is a very unprecedented and very major steps taken by Azerbaijan, Turkey, Qatar to bring the stability in this country, Syria.
Let's roll back to something you mentioned a bit earlier, Shiraz. You mentioned Qatar. So Qatar's engagement is being channeled through the Qatar Fund for Development. So what does that mean, and what exactly is Qatar's stake in this?
Qatar is, Qatar needs. Qatar basically, wants stability in the Middle East, and since Qatar is helping the whole project, it is the stability of the region which would matter in a long run for stability of the whole Middle East. So none of the countries involved in this whole project needs any kind of a disturbance in the Middle East or in any kind of a region to have more cooperative attitude towards each other, to foster the multilateralism, to foster multi-vector policies amongst each other. So that's why the Qatar has kicked in and supporting the whole project.
Anna, talk me through what are the challenges of implementing this project? What could be some of the obstacles that these 4 countries may face?
Look, there is, although...
I'm going to put that to Mr. Erin.
Okay.
Look, in any given project, including this one, where there's actually long-term benefits that's being sought, in the case of this pipeline project involving these 4 countries, there are going to be forces and possibly nations, countries, that will not like any kind of stability, any kind of prosperity, and any kind of security as a result coming out of Syria. So there are those, as we see them every day, there are those that do not benefit from Syria prospering. There are those that do not benefit from Syria being more stable. So as we have seen over the past decade or so, there's going to be forces and possibly countries, directly, indirectly, openly or closely, will be working against and will be doing anything they can to object or obstruct such, long-term projects.
Who exactly do you mean by this?
Anybody that's been feeling the instability in Syria for the last 2 decades. I mean, the list is, I think, not a small list in some capacity. I mean, when the first, problem started, and when the U.S. and Russia has said, started doing, bases and what have you in Syria, when I was being asked about the situation, I said, well, good morning. Now Turkey has 2 more direct neighbors in its borders. One is Russia, one is USA. None of them have anything to do with this area. So, as I said, whether it's these guys or other forces or a combination, doesn't matter. I don't think it takes a lot to see that there are those who will benefit from unstable Syrian country. You
So-
could say, name forces or countries. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter who they are. It really matters what they will be able to achieve or not.
So to what extent do you think Turkey is a strong enough player in energy diplomacy to safeguard this project?
I think it's strong enough when it comes to direct neighbors, talking about Syria, Iraq. I think it's strong enough to a point where no power, doesn't matter how big it is, how strong it is, no power can withstand Turkey's position in this area. However, in today's world, doesn't matter how strong you are, this includes the technically the strongest nation in the world, USA, you cannot do anything alone. You do need partners, you do need regional cooperation, which is exactly what this is. What we have to make sure, I don't think Turkey will ever, take a step back from her position when it comes to solving problems in Syria. I think what we need to make sure is to make sure all of our partners that are not directly, neighbors, including Azerbaijan and Qatar, do actually continue the same policies for a more stable and more sustainable region. That they're not sidetracked by other factors, not to continue this effort to bringing Syria back to her feet.
Shiraz, I'd like to hear a bit from you about the international reaction to this. So could you talk me through what that has been, particularly from countries like the US and Israel?
Well, as far as I know, to my limited knowledge, the thing is that the world is going different now. There are lots of, you will see a lot of enemies back then were now getting friends. The world is going toward multilateralism, multi-vector policies and all that. Things are changed. What Trump is trying to say is, whatever his narrative is, after he resumed this office recently, is that he wants to bring the peace and stability in the world. So things might be different from whatever it was 10 years back or 5 years back. And for example, I will give you an example of South Asia. Recently, Pakistan and India had a conflict, and Iran or Israel had a conflict. So they're trying to solve the problems through negotiations and all that. So whatever it is, it would be, from a U.S. perspective, from their point of view, the Middle East has to be they cannot afford any kind of instability in the Middle East. So they will even try to bring in some stability in the region, so they might not oppose as they used to oppose. From that I don't know. This is my point of view.
Anu, I'd like to get your thoughts on this as well. What do you think Azerbaijan's economic footprint in Syria, what could that mean for Syria's relationship with Israel?
Well, I think in today's day and age, all countries do respect one another's individual needs and aspirations. I think in this day and age, every country must understand with countries that you may have good relations, you may not see everything eye to eye. I think this is an important point. This is far away from the days of the Cold War era, where you were either enemies or you were friends. I think that has changed, going to the very basic of British international diplomacy. In international relations, there is no friends or foes. There is just the good advantages for a nation. So I think, although diplomatically there may be a lot of words being exchanged on any of the sides of this matter, I think at the end of the day, people will understand that every country may have a particular need with another country that may not be in line with their own relation. And I think, though, possibly with the exception of Israel, which doesn't usually, in the international, it doesn't usually do the, things that are very rational, but they will also appreciate that Azerbaijan has to, first and foremost, has to look for her own interest and make sure to keep this at a level where relationships are not, broken, but that each country respects one another's, stand towards other issues that may not necessarily affect them, initially.
So it's fair to say you're optimistic?
I hope to be optimistic because Azerbaijan, Qatar, and Turkey are actually pivotal. They have pivotal roles in the reconstruction of Syria, and the people of the Syrian nation do deserve a life where the basic things that we actually don't even mind to think about is an absolute dire necessity for them. For their sake, I do hope for this.
And on that note, Sheraz, could you talk me through the impact that this gas supply could have on Syrian households?
Well, the impact is obviously major. Right now, Syria is going through a trouble sometimes after, there's such a long conflict. There's no infrastructure left. There's nothing is left. So for Syria to develop, they need some energy. And Azerbaijan providing them energy through the support of Turkey is very significant at the moment because the whole infrastructure is collapsed at the moment. They cannot do anything about it but to ask for the import of any kind of energy. So, as Syrian minister was saying, it would not only be helpful for the domestic thing, but it will be helpful for small industry to grow and all that. So, and it shows the resolve of Syrian people and the government of Syria that it is ready to stand on its own feet with the help of their brotherly countries or with the help of their other partners in the region, and that would actually give a message to other countries which are being devastated in the region as well. So this is a very strong message from all of the actors, be it Azerbaijan, the provider, be it the Turkey, the middle country, which is actually helping everything, and or Qatar or any other countries in the region. So this gives that the things that the bad times for Syria are over, and now it is on the path, or to elevate itself and to get back to on its feet and get economically little viable, so that it can run its own internal affairs and can have relations with other countries too.
So it sounds like you're very optimistic about this as well.
Yeah.
Anu, what is the likelihood that this volume of gas exported may be increased in the near future?
It's very likely. You have to understand this has got to be a step-by-step process. We are talking about a nation and cities that has not really enjoyed or actually has gotten any electricity over a decade. So we must first, understand that, especially Aleppo, which is where it started, which is, I believe, the most industrial city in Syria, or what used to be. First, let's get the wheels turning, and I think in time, as the production increases, by production I mean the output of the industrial complexes over there, I think it will also be, it's very easily can be turned into a profitable, lucrative business where not only gas export can increase, but I think we're not too far away from seeing also renewable energy investments being made in there, such as wind and or solar. So first, the economical powers needs to see, the international players needs to see that this region is very hungry for investment. It is very a good place for production, and I think things will follow very swiftly. I mean, if you want swift and fast investments in any place, you have to show that wheels are turning and they are producing things, and day after day, hopefully more value-added things, so that the money will come. The money will come to fund any and all of the projects, as long as the world markets see that this is a prospering nation, that there is immense opportunities in this country.
So, Onur, what about when it comes to delivering Azerbaijani gas from Syria further, perhaps to Egypt? Are you just as optimistic, or could there be some challenges involved?
This all falls in line within stabilizing the region, stabilizing the country, having more international players in the field. As you could imagine, as there is more investment in Syria, as there is more international players, it will be harder and harder to destabilize Syria, or any other nation for that matter. So we must first pull in these capital investments to this country, to another country, and pull in as much international players as possible, where, if, God forbid, there is another attempt to destabilize the country, there will be a lot more at stake than Syrians and the Syrian government herself. And as this time progresses, having a secure area to carry the gas even to Egypt, it's not a dream. It just needs time, and it needs an effort to succeed in this particular project, and then projects to follow. And in time, what you're saying is it's not unimaginable. It's very possible.
Shiraz, do you agree with this, that in the future we could see this expanded to Egypt and also extended to renewables?
Of course. This this is kind of this is obviously an example for other countries in the region, that they can always collaborate with all these actors in the region for different kind of securities. Could be not only the energy security, could be military security and other things. The more, as the gentleman has just mentioned, the more they integrate, the better it is for their own security, and they would be less prone to the external threats. So yes, I agree. This was go on. This thing will continue, and is likely to continue not only to the Syria but to the region as well.
Thank you. And you mentioned collaboration. Can you talk me through that relationship between Azerbaijan, Turkey, Qatar and Syria? What are the dynamics there between these four countries?
Well, okay, so So Azerbaijan and Turkey has already, economic cooperations and other kind of cooperation, military cooperation, and all that. Right now, Syria needs all the economic cooperation and political cooperation, and then after that, if anything happens, military cooperation. So Turkey is quite important for Syria to provide military equipment or military cooperation in future as well. So they can collaborate like that. Azerbaijan and Turkey already have all kind of cooperation. They're brotherly countries, so they can play a very important role. And obviously, Qatar can be the part of it as well.
Thank you. That's a very positive note to end on. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the programme.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Well, that's all we have for now here on Context. Stay tuned to AnewZ as we bring you all of the latest stories from across the region and beyond. Bye for now.